Didn't you also have a shoot fight with Brock Lesnar as well?
Oh, my shoe fight. It wasn't a fight. It was more of a wrestling match. Rumor was I kicked his ass, okay? Okay, it's kind of true. Yeah, okay, it's damn true. Okay, what happened was Brock came in. He was brand new. And he came into the company, and one of the wrestlers walked up to him and said, "Hey, Brock, you're an amateur wrestler. How do you think you would do against Kurt Angle?" He said, "I'd kick his ass. I'm 80 pounds heavier than him. He's too small." So the wrestler came to me and told me, and I walked up to Brock. I said, "You said you could kick my ass?" And he said, "Well, I am bigger than you." I said, "Then let's go right now." He said, "Well, I have sandals on." I said, "Take them off. I'll take my shoes off. We'll go barefoot." He said, No, I don't want to do it." I said, "All right, that's fine." I said, "I'll get you on another day." So a week later, we're at another Raw. We're getting ready for Raw, and Brock's in the ring with Big Show, and they're wrestling for real. And Brock is annihilating Big Show. Big Show weighed 530 pounds at the time. And I'm like, holy shit, I don't know if I want to wrestle Brock. It was like he was picking him up in the air and slamming him on his back. I mean, no jump from Big Show. He was doing it himself. I was like, holy shit, I don't know. My work's cut out for me tonight. So Big Show's facing me and Brock's back's to me. So Big Show's on the opposite side. And I said, "Get out." And he goes. And I walk up to Brock and I tap him on the back. And he turns around. I said, "Let's go right now." He said, "Oh, I said, "All right, let's do this." So we were doing it. We go probably 15 minutes. And I took him down twice. He didn't take me down at all, but it was not an ass kicking. It was a very tight match. I edged him a little bit, but the rumor is I kicked his ass, which is not true. I wish it were true. To beat the out of Brock Lesnar, you take a lot of pride in that. But it wasn't true. I beat him, but I barely edged him. Yeah.
Next question is, when did you find out you were going to win the King of the Ring tournament in 2000? Was there a conversation with Vince? How did you feel about that?
King Kurt, amen. Yeah, you know what? I kind of knew when I knew they were putting the Rockets behind me when I won the European Championship, then the Intercontinental Championship. Then I was the Eurocontinental champion. So I kind of expected that I was the next guy. I knew that they were trying to elevate me to the main event status. They were having me do like matches with Undertaker, Big Show, pay-per-views where I was I was with main eventers, and they were trying to make me look like I was wrestling the top guys, so I would be affiliated with them, so I would be a top guy. And in the process, they decided, they were having the King of the Ring, and they decided to make me champion. And it was a great move because, I never looked back. After that, I won the world title from The Rock, and then I continued on. And my career was, I was pretty amazed by everything that I was able to do. And I had a very successful career, especially my first 2 years wrestling. I mean, I beat The Rock for the world championship and Stone Cold Steve Austin for the world championship my first 2 years wrestling. That is crazy. That's a gift from God. It really is. Yeah.
Connor wants to know, are AEW a serious competition to WWE, and would you work for them?
Would I work for them? They offered me a couple different times, but they were wrestling roles. I can't wrestle anymore, unfortunately. But are they competition? Yeah, I think they are. Are they making a lot of money? No, they're not making a lot of money. So there's no comparison in the money making. WWE's crushing AEW. And don't get me wrong, AEW will eventually get the TV deals. But I don't know if they're going to be as established as WWE, and it's going to take them a really, really long time. But I think they're doing well. So they're definitely competition. But from a money standpoint, no.
Connor asks, who do you think will be the face of the WWE in 5 years' time? Who do you see as being the next top guy?
Well, I'm expecting, and this isn't a surprise, not to me. Maybe.
Maven.
What the? I guess I deserve that, right? Okay, what the are we talking about?
Mark wants to know, what are your thoughts on Cody Rhodes leaving AEW and coming back to WWE? What do you think about it?
Well, you know what? I'm really surprised he did. And not only that, I'm even more surprised at the fact that Vince didn't him over when he came back. Okay? He left on his terms, but he's the only one I know that came back and actually beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Exactly. Holy shit, man. So, I heard that what Cody did, though, when he signed a contract with WWE, is he signed a contract with certain terms to make sure they couldn't him over. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the rumor going around. And I don't blame Cody Rhodes for it because he beat Seth Rollins, which is crazy, at WrestleMania. I thought it was a great WWE moment and a great moment for Cody Rhodes.
This is a good question. Whose idea was it for the wheelchair gimmick after Big Show chokeslammed you off the balcony? What do you think of that angle looking back now?
Well, what happened was I broke my neck for the third time. And Vince was like, what the how many times are you going to break your neck? I can't put you on TV and tell everybody you broke your neck again. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have Big Show chokeslam you off the top of a cliff, and you're going to land on the concrete floor, and you're going to do that weird pose where your knee is out sideways, so it looks like you broke your leg. I said, why are we doing that? Because he said, I don't want people to think you broke your neck again. Let's get away from the neck. Let's go with the knee. I said, okay, Vince. So we did the pre-tape, and my brother Eric, who's my stunt double, of course, you guys have seen him probably 3 or 4 times on WWE TV, and he's always doing something to help me out. So Big Show choke slams my brother 20 feet in the air, right onto the crash pad was only 6 inches wide, thick. I was like, holy I ain't doing that, and I'm glad my brother's doing it and not me. So it was crazy, but then when Eric hit the crash pad, we moved Eric out of the way, and put me in that position, that up position, and that was the idea. So I was wheeling around, and the crazy thing is, for 5 months, I had to go through the airport in a wheelchair. I had to go home in a wheelchair. I had to stay in character 24/7. It was ridiculous. I mean, imagine being late for your flight, and you can't rush there, and you're like, I'm gonna make it. I know I'm gonna make it. I'll get there eventually. It's crazy, man. And I had to do that for 5 months.
We had a few questions about your moonsault. Somebody said, did you ever hit one successfully? Someone else says it's the best moonsault in the business. Obviously, there's that famous one on Raw off the top of the cage. How did you decide to use the moonsault, and what are your memories of that big, crazy one off the cage?
Well, you know what? I never practiced it, and the first night I did it was against Bob Holly. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I broke his arm. I ended up falling short. I placed him in the middle of the ring, but when I do my moonsault, I go high. I don't go far. So I went high, and as I came around, my legs hit his arm. He went up to protect his chest, and my legs came down and hit his arm, and he had a compound fracture. His whole arm was hanging. And this is how tough Bob Holly is. So his left arm's broken, okay? It's hanging. And we continue the match. We have another 12 minutes left. And we're wrestling, and I'm shooting him off, grabbing his left arm by his hand and pulling him and shooting him. He's like, oh, and he hit the ropes, come back. I'd elbow him, and he'd bump. Oh, he said like 200 times. It was a nightmare. I mean, I couldn't wait to get through this match because I was beating the out of Bob, and his arm was about ready to fall off. So, but what I did that night, I felt so badly about what I did. I spent the night with Bob, not in a sexual way either. I went to the hospital with him. I made sure he got proper treatment from the doctor. He got his cast. I took him back to his hotel. I stayed with him that night, nothing sexual. And I made sure I sent him I sent him off on his flight to go home. And I called him every day to check on him. And not about the sex we had in the hotel room either. But, I felt really badly. And that is why I never hit the moonsault again. That's why I missed every time after that, because I didn't want to break someone else's arm.
Shannon wants to know, was there ever any other gimmicks pitched to you during your time wrestling, apart from the milk drinking nerd?
No. You know what? The gimmick was perfect for me. Winning the gold medal, and Vince wanted me to be kind of a role model for kids, but not so much of a role model that I would go back on I said. So I don't know why the he wanted me to do this, because he wanted me to be a role model and the milk drinking nerd, but at the same time, I wasn't the milk drinking nerd role model. I was kind of an so, but he said he got the chemistry from when he started off with The Rock. When The Rock started, they tried to make him into a baby face. So they used the same thing they did for me. And Vince knew that with me, they would turn on me, just like they did on The Rock. I don't know if you remember, but when The Rock tried to be a baby face, the first thing the fans said is, "Die, Rocky, die." So he didn't exactly succeed. And Vince knew this was going to happen to me. And he told me that. And he wanted me to follow through with it. And he wanted me to be the heel. And I became the best heel in the business my rookie year, which is crazy. And that's all credit to Vince McMahon. It really is.
Someone wants to know, do you have any good Ric Flair stories?
You know what? I've seen Rick so many times. Sometimes naked, sometimes not, yeah. But no, I never seen him in the crazy stuff that people accuse him of. Rick's always been really cool around me. Even when he's drunk, he's not so much of an as people say he is. So I don't know what the hell people are saying and why they're saying the they do about Ric Flair. I've never seen it.
Someone wants to know, what was your experience like working with AJ Styles?
AJ, man, he is without a doubt the most gifted wrestler I've ever been in the ring with. Sean's up there. Sean is the best entertainer, the whole ball of wax. So from looks to charisma to, in-ring persona, his promo skills, Shawn Michaels is the absolute best ever. Now I am going to say Chris Jericho is seeping up on him. Chris Jericho, what he's been able to do this late in his career in AEW, he's got to be in that mix by now. But AJ, wow. Every time you work with him, it's like a night off. He does all the work for you. He flies around for you. He bumps and feeds for you. All you have to do is stand in the middle of the ring. And it's like, hey, I got credit for having a 5-star match tonight, and I did absolutely nothing. So, of course, I love wrestling AJ. There's no work to it. And he's such an amazing athlete. The stuff he's able to do in that ring is nothing short of incredible. And to be able to be in that ring with him, I am glad I went to TNA. Having the matches I did with Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, and being able to wrestle Sting for the first time, it was a great experience for me, something I'll never forget.
Someone wants to know, it's your dream opponent, who would it be, Bret Hart or Bryan Danielson?
Bret Hart or who?
Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, man. I'm going to go old school with Bret Hart, and it's only because I think that Bret Hart laid the groundwork for all the wrestlers that you see today. I think that he showed what was really important, and that's the wrestling and the technique. He is one of the greatest technicians of all time, and that's what wrestling is all about. And yeah, you can do all crazy ass stunts all you want, but the crazy ass stunts and the no selling makes wrestling worse. When you're flying around and you're not selling at all, it doesn't make sense. But Bret Hart, he had the right psychology, and that guy could put on an incredible performance. It didn't matter how basic the match was. The match still was a 5-star match because he was that good.
This question is, can you tell the story of making Hulk Hogan tap out?
All right. Okay, in case you didn't know, I'm the only one in history to make Hulk Hogan tap out. Okay, what happened was, this is a great story. Vince McMahon pulls me in his office, and he says, listen, next pay-per-view, you're wrestling Hulk Hogan, and you're going to make him tap out. I said, this is great, Vince. He goes, okay, but hold on, I haven't told him yet. And he goes, I want you to stay in here, because if he comes in here, he's going to talk me out of it. I said, are you, wait, people can talk you out of matches, Vince? He said, just let it go, let it go. So Hogan comes in, and Vince, before Hogan comes in, I'm sorry, I didn't fill you in on this. He has 2 seats facing each other. So there's a chair, and both chairs are facing each other. You can barely get your knees in. You can barely fit them. So Vince has 2 chairs facing each other, and he has a chair where he's sitting on. And he tells Hogan to come in the office, and I'm already sitting in one chair. And he says, please sit in that chair, Hulk Hogan. Hogan comes over, sits in a chair, and beforehand, Vince tells me, when Hogan sits down, I want you to get right up in his face. I want your nose this close to his nose. I want you up out of the chair like this. So I'm standing there in front of Hogan, and Hogan's like, what the is going on? And I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm like, what the am I doing? What the am I doing? What the am I doing? Why am I doing this? And Vince says, Hogan, Angle's going over by tap out tonight. And Hogan's like this, and he goes, and that's the night I made Hulk Hogan tap out. I'm the only one in history. Amen.